If you've been watching my channel here on YouTube, guys, over the last while, you're probably aware that I'm not overly gone on multiculturalism, especially the way it's forced upon us as well. It's not that I don't like people from all different places. I do. I like all sorts of nationalities. Europeans, and I even like Yanks. I like Americans. I like everyone, really, honestly. I meet nice people from all over the world, especially in my line of work. So at the lower end of the reasons that I don't like it is the sort of what it can do to societies in which, you know, you kind of feel a little bit more isolated in a multicultural society than you will in a homogeneous one. Am I saying that right? But at the more serious end then, of which I think good old multiculturalism is failing us, is kind of evident in what we see recently in LA with these riots. Incredibly violent, dystopian, evil riots that we're seeing in LA. This is really nasty stuff, very, very bad. And to me, it's sort of the result of, you know, different societies mixed together and not working out. That's kind of evident. So this all started out with the whole border thing, the ICE thing, okay? Trump's will to put an end to the flow of people coming through the border between Mexico and the southern part of the United States, I suppose along California and, you know, Texas and stuff. So it's predominantly a California thing, and there's a massive Mexican Hispanic community in California, made up, I suppose, of, you know, native Mexicans and then a mixture of people of South American descent, sort of a mixture. So you've probably seen the clips of the guys chucking rocks at cars and stuff like that. But there's also, you know, watching a video earlier on with a journalist, a guy called Aldo something. He's the guy that took the photo of the fella on top of the car waving the Mexican flag. They love their flags. They love their Mexican flags. If they're so proud of their country, why didn't they stay there? Oh wait, no, they brought their country with them into America, into the United States, didn't they? They're kind of saying that they own it now. This interview I heard, you know, this guy was saying that he heard the rioters openly chanting to try and hit the police in the head with the rocks. So this is a particularly nasty one. So if you ask me, you see, this is a result of just a breakdown in society, because what's happening is there's realistically more than one society. And once again, we see the host nation, you know, the Americans, being sort of dominated by the Hispanic community, who realistically just want to do things their own way, okay? That's my opinion. You see, I'm not that convinced that assimilation works, you know, and integration works. We're always saying that, oh, as long as they assimilate, as long as they integrate. But I don't really think there's such a thing as, you know, true integration or assimilation. That tends to only really happen if an immigrant is on their own, realistically. But if there's any sort of numbers at all, inevitably the immigrant group will sort of just make the place they move to their own place. It's happening here. We're seeing it now recently in Ireland with the Muslim community, especially, if you ask me. This whole, you know, Croke Park thing, the Eid thing. Just basically, we are sort of conforming to what they want. So this is how it works. The host nation inevitably sort of has to agree to make compromises, to make acceptances, exceptions, or whatever the word is, you know, provide, you know, to accommodate the needs. So with these riots now, it's not just Mexico. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's kind of happening everywhere. And it has, if you ask me, a multicultural undercurrent to it. It nearly always seems to involve a different group. We've seen it with BLM in America. We've seen it now in France only a week ago. It was disguised as, you know, celebrations. PSG won the league. Ooh! Oh no, these are just people celebrating. They're just getting a bit overexcited. You know, groups of guys smashing car windows with girls sitting inside of the car, terrified, and then jumping on the roof, rioting. Yeah, it's just lads that are kind of excited that their team won. There was 700 fires. Who sets 700 fires in celebration of their team winning? Making a fire with rental electric bikes, piling them up. 2 people dead, hundreds of people injured, police very badly injured. And you can be 100% sure that a lot of people on the left, we've seen it with the news companies, ABC, just saying, oh no, this isn't riots. These are people who are just rightfully protesting. I mean, this is crazy to describe events like this in this way. In Ireland as well, with our very, very pro-Palestinian following here, you can be absolutely sure that there's a lot of Irish people, a lot of Irish liberals endorsing what they see here being carried out in LA, if you ask me. Trump is the baddie no matter what. If it wasn't for Trump instilling this, border control thing, everything would be fine. It's all Trump's fault. That's the way it works. Actually, Trump is right, because if they're doing this over, a new border policy in which criminals are being deported and illegals, he was right to do it in the first place. And maybe more people need to be deported than what was first estimated. By the looks of things, lots of deportations needed in America. So California was always the kind of cool part of America. It was like the state to live in for years, as a kid, even growing up. It was like nearly everything you saw from the States. We grew up on sort of American TV and stuff. So almost everything was Californian. The whole surf thing and beaches and Baywatch. Do you remember Baywatch in the 90s? God above, I love that era. I really love the 90s. I miss it so bad. I really do. But that was California, that was LA. And I know it was never perfect. There was always crime. But what's happening recently, when you get so many people that are moving away, we've seen so many famous people now that lived in LA and they're getting out of it. Even Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, a big lug that he is, finding it just ridiculous. And the taxes they're charging, and people will say that, they're going because of taxes or whatever and the cost of living and whatever. They might say that, but realistically, if the quality of life there was better, if there wasn't so much degradation, dilapidation on the streets and violence and just such a dystopian element, if there wasn't so much of that, maybe they'd stay. I'm very often accused of being a little bit negative here on the channel. Some of my commentary is, but I really feel that this type of thing, this type of thing is sort of, it's in store for Ireland too, Alright folks, just as I'm editing this video, I found out about the situation in Ballymena, so there you go. What does that say to you? In case you're wondering why I didn't mention that in this video, it's obviously because I shot this video before Ballymena, okay? So back to the Claddagh. I hate saying that, but I really think that unrest is sort of our future if we keep doing what we're doing. So we've seen riots here too. And even though it was carried out by the far right, Maria, I would say some far right, I would say some angry people, and then I would say a lot of street thugs that caused the sort of Dublin riots, which were a much bigger story than the actual reason for those riots. Once again, the reason for those riots was the attack that the Algerian man made. You see, if it was an Irish man that did such an attack, it would be equally as bad. It'd be worse in many ways because we'd expect more. Realistically, we do. We hold ourselves to a higher standard. But there wouldn't have been riots, you see. And the riots in Dublin were caused by anger against our government for the bullshit border policy that we have. In other words, these people carrying out these acts shouldn't be here. And there was several, not just on the children that time, but several murders, several awful, assaults in Ireland that happened. So that's why people riot. But again, it's linked towards immigration. It really is. In the riots in France, when the police in France ended up shooting a kid, a young lad, that was ramming their car or something. He had stolen a car. He was acting very violently. He got himself shot. It's not nice, but he might have been let's be honest, he might have been acting in a way that was threatening. They found it threatening. They shot him. This was in France 2 years ago. So France was leveled over this one Muslim kid being shot. And you'll see this in America as well. You know, time after time, George Floyd, okay, absolute waste of space. I know he's dead, 5 years now. Maybe I should be more respectful in my description, but I just think he was. I'm going to be honest with you. Thug, drug dealer, and then BLM decide to level America. Absolutely level the place. Assisted by Antifa and more left-wingers, justified by the media, seen as a rightful protest, mostly peaceful. Several people dead, even children dead, in the George Floyd riots. Was it all worth it? Well, what does it say to you? It says to you that blacks in America, the African American community, get a lot more angry when one of theirs gets killed by the police. There was cases of white people dying in police custody. There was a white woman that was shot by a black policeman. There was no riots over that in America. So I personally speaking, I am fully, unapologetically resigned to the fact that when you put different groups together like this, you are asking for riots. And you can see it even amongst themselves. You know, look at the Indian and Pakistani community now. You know, that could blow up in the UK. And even looking at America with the Hispanic and black community, the Hispanic community in America have, I wouldn't say gentrified, but they've taken over a lot of black neighborhoods now. So do you think black people in America love all the Hispanics? I know, I'm sure there's a lot that are standing in solidarity, but there's a lot of tension there between the two groups at the same time. So we don't really all get along as much as we'd like to think. So this is my thoughts on it anyway. The media will put their usual spin on it. They'll play it down, you know, just like RTE. But we know the truth at the end of the day, guys. From the Claddagh on this lovely day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. You can donate if you can. Just see the links in the description and help me make more. So that's all from me today, guys. See ya. Take care.